Now in this step I'm going to show you what is needed to replace the cylinder in an Alarm Lock Trilogy exit trim device. So if you're going to change this cylinder with a large format removable core or a best small format interchangeable core, there's a couple things that you have to have. Number one, you have to have this kit, and this particular kit is for a Schlage large format removable core. And then you also have to have a rim cylinder for that type of core that you're going to put in. So again, this happens to be a Schlage large format. In the box you have some instructions. So you have all kinds of instructions here. Let me zoom out here. Nice sheet here that shows you how to take the back of the lock apart so you can replace the cylinder in it. There's also a warning or a caution sheet here, and it tells you about the alignment of the gears. So I will walk you through that as well when we replace this housing in the actual lock body. And also in the box you have all of the parts that you will need. You have the spacer collar, you have a new attachment bracket, you have a tailpiece, and the tailpiece is specific to the actual type of core that you're going to use. Again, this is a Schlage, so it has, you know, the standard looks like Schlage tailpiece, and it also has a spacing collar. You have a new locking pin for your screw cap and a washer. So the first thing that you would have to do is you'll have to prep the actual housing. Now to do that, you're going to have to remove this original tailpiece. Now depending on the type of housing you have, whether it's a Schlage original or it's an aftermarket, some of them have clips and some of them have screws. This particular one, being a Schlage original, has a clip. So what you will do is you will actually pop that clip off. As you can see, there's the clip, and then the tailpiece will slide right out of the front of the housing, which gives you, as you can see, a straight hole all the way through the actual housing. Now you will prep your core by removing the little piece on the back of the core that would attach to this end of the tailpiece, and then you'll replace it with this tailpiece. You have to use the tailpiece that comes in the kit. Once you have that tailpiece on, you will put your core in through the front. The tailpiece will come out the back, stick out the back a little bit, and then you're ready to add this core or this housing to the actual lock. Now we're going to prep the actual lock body, and we're going to remove this original cylinder that came with the lock body, and we're going to replace it with our small or large format removable core. Whether it's Schlage, Sargent, small format, best, whatever the case may be. So the box with the cylinder adapter comes with nice instructions on how to do this. So first thing you do is pull the back plate off, and then there are 8 screws along this plate here. So there are 8 screws that hold this plate on. So you will remove these 8 screws. I've already removed all but one. And then you will pull the plate off. Set it aside. There is some grease here, so you may want to set it on a towel or rag or something. Now you can see where the gears are. You have a plate that has 2 springs underneath it. This is what gives you the tension when you are turning the lever, and gives you the spring part of the spring back for the gears. So you will carefully lift that up from the back side where the gears are, and then you have your 2 springs underneath. Again, be careful, that is greasy. And then you have to remove this gear here. Some of them will have a C-clip. If it doesn't have a C-clip, then you can just pull straight up on the gear and set it aside. Then you have to remove the pin that holds the big tailpiece, the locking pin here that locks in the gear. And then you have the two screws on either side that hold the cylinder in. So you're going to loosen those screws up and remove them. So you just loosen the screws, back them out. And if you're on a workbench, you will be able to, you'll know when the cylinder is dropped because you'll hear a thud. There you go. And then you have your cylinder here. So you can see that the tailpiece on our cylinders is quite small. It's real short. So that's why you have to use the tailpiece that's in the cylinder adapter kit. So set your cylinder off to the side. Now you have to pull the two screws on the front, the top and the bottom to pull this housing off. So you just remove the two screws. And then you can lift the housing right off of the lock body. Okay. Now, where did I put my? There they are. So now you have, again, you have all of your pieces here for your cylinder adapter kit. So you're going to pull the collar off, and you're going to remove that plastic strong, the actual mounting plate. Now you have to remove this tailpiece off of the original mounting plate. Now that you have your adapter off that holds the tailpiece, you have to remove the tailpiece and the brass bushing here. To do that, you're going to remove this C-clip that is attached here. So you will pull that C-clip off. Just pop it off, make sure you don't lose it. So you've got the C-clip here. You're going to reuse that. And then you're going to push the spindle and the actual bushing out the back of the actual mounting plate. Then you will take the new mounting plate and you'll push the spindle and the bushing through, and then you will put the C-clip back on. There we go. So you'll put the C-clip back on, pop it back on with a pair of pliers. Okay. So now we have our new mounting plate. So you're going to put the mounting plate on the lock. You're going to take the two screws and you're going to tighten them back up with your new spindle mount in place. Okay. Now what you're going to have to do is take your prepared cylinder, rim cylinder housing, put it into your spacer collar, and then put your core in. Put your core in here, and then from underneath you'll slide it in. So once you have that put in, you'll tighten it down with the two screws, your cylinder screws that you took out earlier, and then you will put the gear back on the top here, and you need to make sure that your alignment is correct. Okay, so with your alignment, again, let's get a little light on here. With your alignment, you need to make sure that all of your gears are properly aligned. Now there's an arrow on this bottom gear. I don't know if you can see the arrow or not, but it's right here. There are two dimples on the middle gear here. Those two need to be aligned, and then there's two dimples up here at the top. So when you put your gear, your top gear back on, you need to make sure that everything is lined up. Now don't forget, where did it go? There is a roll pin. I've lost my roll pin. There it is. There's a roll pin that goes into the big holes on the side of the spindle, and that roll pin lines up with these two slots. So you'll slide your gear on, making sure your alignment is correct, and you may have to wiggle and play with it a little bit to get it to go on. Set this down for just a second, and then so you want to make sure that's about even on both sides, and then it will slide on. And again, making sure that your gears are in the proper place, or your alignment marks are in the proper place. Again, you got your arrow, you have your dimples, and then your top gear here. And then you will take your springs and you will put them on, loading the springs onto these pins, those pins there, and then pushing it on. Then you will take your plate and you will put your plate back on, tightening down your screws, and you're done.